Good late afternoon from Bali, everyone. It's Hanifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I wanted to talk about similarities because there are definitely many more similarities amongst us than differences, yet more people are interested in talking about, thinking about, or even acting through a place of difference. And acting through a place of difference leads to conflict. So in a place of difference, we will often look at, this is different for you than for me. You do that differently than I do, and I don't like how you do that because otherwise I would do it. But then I might not be able to do it because I'm not able to do it. And so whether we look at jealousy or whether we look at judgment, either of those places is not such a healthy energy. And when I look at Vedanta, very much the whole idea is to respect everyone. And as we know, this is kind of the golden rule too. And this do unto others idea is actually even deeper through all of our traditions too, that most of us have either heard about or have grown up with. And so today's first quotation I wanted to share with you is from the Corinthians. And the Corinthians, in this particular verse, it's 15:53, it says, "For the perishable must be clothed with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality." And again, I think this is so interesting because when we look at this whole manifestation, from unmanifest to manifest, and then from manifest to unmanifest, we can think of the same thing. And then when we're thinking about oneness, it's what's outside of me is what is within me, and that is who I am. And I am clothed in the imperishable, though most of us think of us as a body, a form, a mind, thoughts, emotions, feelings. And then we think, some of us think about the soul, and then we think we contain the soul within this body. But that soul energy is both within us and outside of us. And today I wanted to draw our attention to that because, again, although many people kind of know this, may think of this, that yeah, we're really all the same, it's true, but oh, my problems are much tougher than other people's problems, or other people have it much easier than I do, or I've had it pretty easy, and oh boy, other people have really got it tough. Any of those spaces are ego spaces that come from our intellect. And then the judgment between different cultures, races, colors, religions, spiritual traditions, even education, there's so much judgment in that space. And if we look at this, this is not how divine energy looks at things. It doesn't look at things of, this is the good and this is the not so good. Though, in duality, we think of this, that, well, the good will be rewarded in heaven and the not so good will be going to hell. And if we look at even traditions that don't necessarily believe in dualism, they're thinking about oneness. So whether Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism also think about the personal responsibility to be the best we can. And in that space, there's much more of an emphasis on the soul energy. And the soul energy, again, this is a space that many of us believe will be what we are left with when our bodies and minds and intellects all perish. And when all of those go, there will be something that we can't really place, we can't really think about in words. And again, we might think of it as soul or Atman or the void. And all of these places are that imperishable, the eternal. And that is also merging with oneness. And that's also the space that all of us get to for at least some time in deep sleep. So I wanted to talk about the similarities and how it's so interesting that in Bali, just a couple of days ago, was a very big Muslim celebration. And Bali itself is largely Hindu. And it was the first time that I noticed that across the street, there was actually a Muslim that was working. And the only reason I knew was because of the hat that was worn and maybe because of the music that was being played. So I am, at least, it's an assumption because I wasn't able to speak with him. But I do believe it was Muslim music playing, and it was the only music that was playing at the time. So I do believe it was for that celebration too. And yet, I didn't see like a warmth of others coming over and, either shaking his hand or saying hello or being kind, to respect that celebration. And of course, we're also going through the Hindu festival here in Bali of Galungan, and Kuningan will be coming up, and they're both festivals in Bali specifically, which I've definitely participated in, or at least been part of experiencing. And this is something that, of course, in Bali, because largely Hindu population, there's a recognition, a respect, a kindness, a mannerism towards fellow villagers, for sure. I am not a fellow villager. I might be a familiar face to even people on the streets who are very, very kind to me. And then this homestay itself is also very kind to me, but definitely there is that feeling of difference. So the Canadian versus the Balinese. And this is interesting because right in a community that is so particular about oneness, if they really understand the concepts of Hinduism and Advaita, and if they practice, and if they're interested, or if they're aware. And of course, most of us in all of our traditions, every single tradition, I notice in Canada this happens at Christmas time, where Christmas and Hanukkah obviously happen, or many times happen, very close together, and there isn't much respect from Christians to Jews and Jews to Christians. And this happens here in terms of Muslims to Hindus, and I am generalizing only because of what I've seen. There's probably a lot that's happening under the surface that's much more welcoming and loving and kind and respectful. But why wouldn't we do that out loud? That's the whole idea of love out loud, right? That this oneness is a beautiful space to work from, and to actually have that respect and appreciation for one another is a beautiful space, I believe. So I wanted to share this quotation too. This quotation is I'm going to say it's a Buddhist quotation. I'm not sure, I'm sorry who the author is, but I believe that it's actually an actual quotation from some spiritual text, and I do think it's Buddhist, but I'm going to read it to you. It says, 100 times better than Sravana is Manana. Now, you know these are Vedic terms. Sravana is listening or hearing or learning through that, so through someone that's speaking, or through a book that you're reading or we're reading. And 100,000 times better than Manana is Nididhyasana. So Manana is thinking about it, thinking about, okay, what did I read, and how does my mind process this? How is this understanding coming through this mind? And then Nididhyasana is to meditate or contemplate. So here in this quotation, it is specific about contemplation, which is just remaining attentively as I am. I am understanding, I am not understanding, both mindful awareness. Either way is mindful awareness, right? I do understand, I don't understand. I will sit with this, I'll let my mind contemplate. What do I think about this? All of that, that's contemplation. And it says, but the Nirvikalpa Samadhi is infinite in its results. Now, Samadhi and Nirvikalpa Samadhi is that understanding of oneness and acting from it and truly seeing it and feeling it. And what a wonderful place to either aspire to, or to even experience in a few moments, or a moment. It is a wonderful intention for us to have, and I strongly encourage that. And I thought I would end with this one quote by Saint Ravinder Singh Ji Maharaj. Interesting. The Sant Ravinder Singh Ji Maharaj. So Sant, I wanted to put the saint in it because, you know, saints and gurus actually, to me, are exactly the same. So it's teachers that we can learn from, that are teaching divine principles, and not only teaching, but living and acting from them too. And so this quotation says, truth is one. Whoever comes in contact with God carries back the same truth. And this alignment that I like to remind us all about, this alignment with our higher nature, our higher self, with wisdom, with truth, with God energy, with something divine, a grace, that is truth, and it's one. And different disciplines will use different language, different processes, different rituals, different prayers, different words, different languages, different colors, and it's all one. And I love this because as we move up in this spiritual direction, we start seeing the oneness of all. I hope that today you will reflect on these thoughts and ideas, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day or night, everyone.